Hi everybody, this is AG here.
I'm IJ, and we're back together.
Yeah, we wanted to do a little video talking about the new Pokemon game that's coming out.
Oh,
Yeah.
gonna be awesome.
Yeah, so one of the things that we want to say is that we've actually been Pokemon fans a very long time.
Our first game was Pokemon Yellow, and then we played Pokemon Blue after that. So
Yeah, so we've been keeping up with the series since it came out. I think the only generation that we kind of skipped was Generation 5, technically.
well,
We still went.
that's Black and White, right?
Yeah, that's Black and White.
I played White. You
Yeah, but that
played
was like
Pearl.
a while later.
Yeah, but
was-
I played it.
Yeah.
Is the point? And you played Pearl. I skipped Gen 4
Well,
completely.
Pearl is Generation 4.
Yeah.
And we had Platinum in Generation 4.
Yeah. Well, I never played it.
Yeah. So,
So
yeah, one of the things we wanted to...
I never got to pick Oswald. So
Yeah, one of the things we wanted to talk about was what we actually feel about the new Pokemon games. So, what were your first impressions on the...
Well, I'm happy to get another Pokemon game. I played a lot of I got Pokemon Eevee. Just to
Let's Go Eevee, yeah.
yeah, I got Let's Go Eevee. I've enjoyed playing that. I enjoyed playing Pokemon Quest for a while, and then I went back to other games. But I'm glad to have a new Pokemon game. I'm excited to see all the new Pokemon that they're gonna add, and I'm excited for the new Eevee.
Yeah.
Gonna get an Eevee.
Yeah.
Or people will riot.
Okay, so first off, how did you feel about the way that the trailer looked and like the areas that they showed off?
I really like it. It's more stylized. It's got similar art style to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but it's stylized differently. It's kind of that same art style, but they took it in a different styling, which I appreciate because it really sets the two games as different.
Yeah.
And I love all of the industrialization that they showed off in the trailer, at least. Because I'm a big fan of steampunk and Tesla punk like stuff. So to see that in a Pokemon game, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, my first impression when I was looking at it was it basically looks like the other games, but the thing I noticed a lot more was the character models look a lot older, which we've been having to use characters that look like that they're like 10 to 15 for a while now, so characters that look like that they could be in like their very late teens to like early college days is neat, but we're still gonna have to learn like
There's a lot of good they could do with a Pokemon region set in the UK.
Yeah.
They're at Scotland apparently, because that trainer was absolutely Scottish. There's no bones about it.
Going to that okay,
Where's Ireland though?
Okay, so we're gonna do something kind of slightly off the cuff. Okay, so when it comes to this region that is based off of England, name like 5 things about England that you would want to be represented in new Pokemon.
I want new fairy types.
Okay.
I want really English fairy type Pokemon, because there's a difference between what they had in the Kalos region, which was a lot more French, and having the Celtic type fairies. I want to see some new seal Pokemon. I want to see, if we're ever going to get a baby form of Lapras, this is the generation where we're going to see it.
Yeah, baby form, maybe evolution.
Maybe evolution, maybe baby form. They could spin it in a new way. They're not going to give it to me, but I want a poison type Eevee. I wanted a poison type Eevee since Gen 2. They're not going to give it though.
Was that 4 or 5?
But I want to see it. Huh?
Was that 4 or 5? I think that was 5.
Gen 2 with Umbreon.
No. Like, was that 5 items or?
No, I just I've listed off 3, I think. But mostly I want to see them go a new route with it. It seems like every Pokemon we know that, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was made after they'd made development. But I still want to see them curb notes from previous Pokemon games, like with Gen 5 and with Gen 6, and, do something new with the after game.
Yeah, maybe if they'll...
always, the only thing to do in an after game of a Pokemon game is to have it, just complete the Pokedex.
Yeah, maybe they'll have a third version,
do.
Pokemon Axe, or maybe even Pokemon Gun, that will incorporate
Pokemon Gun with your neighborhood monkey.
Yeah, well, that will incorporate some things from Let's Go.
Because I don't compete Pokemon at all. Like, I just want to catch them, and I want just to have them.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm a collector. Like, if you look around my room, which you don't have the ability to do, to look around at my collections of films and my collections of games over here. I love to collect things.
Yeah.
And so I'd like for something that people that don't battle or compete Pokemon to do. Because there's never anything for me to do in the after game but to catch Pokemon. And that gets boring after a while.
So my 5 types I was really wanting is first off, I did want to see a new Eevee type. I was thinking either bug or dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Because those can be really interesting.
If there's ever a time to give us a dragon type Eevee, this is it.
Yeah.
Because we're going into the Galar region, which is the UK, and there's a lot of things they could curb for a dragon type Eevee, and they could go it in a completely different way. We could have an Eevee with wings.
Another one that I would want is I want things that are more sort of based off of like English legends for like their legend like it's kind of funny because when people think of like English mythology, like people
they think of the French stuff.
They think of either French or they think of Norse, and they wouldn't be wrong for thinking that. It's just that it feels like they're cutting out a lot of it. Like they could do a lot with like what was it? It was that's another thing. England is very well known for like, okay, so obviously the 2 types that I want a lot more representation of is ice and ghost types. I feel that they can do a lot with that.
Yeah. What was the stuff that we were talking about before? Sorry, I said it on there. It's because we talked about this before. We did the video of doing having like a fairy type. What was it? It was like having a fairy type where it was like a fairy fire type.
Yeah.
Like a will-o-wisp of sorts.
Yeah.
So it had a bit of an edge against steel typing, which they're probably going to add a couple steel type Pokemon into the mix with this one.
Oh, that's the thing I was thinking of. There's also a few like Scottish things I feel that they can throw in. One of those being Loch Ness Monster, pre-evolution or even evolution of Lapras could be neat.
Yeah, because I think that there's a lot of Pokemon that haven't gotten love from some of the other generations. I think that, there's a lot that people are looking at that perhaps they're looking in the wrong direction. And they're not wrong for looking in some of the directions they're looking at. I think if there's any time we're going to see Pokemon Pokemon from Gen 5 again, it's now, because we're essentially in the Galar region.
Yeah, and Generation 5 was sort of based off of
New York.
New York.
And a lot of New York culture and building and culture comes from places like the UK and Germany and the Dutch and places like that. So if we're ever going to see like Galar forms of Pokemon, it's going to be from Gen 5. Like, because I don't think we're going to
Some
see
people
Pokemon
think
from
Generation
Gen
2, mostly,
I don't think so.
some people are thinking Generation 2 because all the Pokemon from Sun and Moon that had Alolan forms were from Generation 1.
Yeah. But I think it just makes more sense to go with Gen 5 or Gen 4.
Yeah.
It's because not a lot has been done with those two Pokemon generations. So, if we're ever going to go on to see it, it's either going to be in this game or in the next Pokemon game to follow. So,
Ow.
yeah, but I want to see a couple Fairy Fire type. Are there any Fairy Fire types?
I am unsure about that.
Yeah. So
Either way, there's a the last thing I would want is is just kind of like really simple, like they could throw in some like English, like some English in jokes effectively. There are some like I forget if they're American or English, but there are some non-native Japanese people working at Game Freak now. And it feels like that when it comes to making Pokemon. Pokemon has always been a game that utilizes puns a lot, like even from like really early generations.
Ham wild with this one.
Yeah, and so like, so what they can do is that they can.
There are no Fairy Fire type Pokemon.
Yeah, there's also been no Ice Fire types either, but you're not seeing anyone clamoring for that exclusive Hot Pocket Pokemon.
Well, that should have been in the Gen 5 Pokedex, I think. The Hot Pocket Pokemon. But so, yeah. So, I'd like to see a couple of Fairy Fire types. And I'd like to see... And I think if they're gonna add some more legendaries, we should expect some more rock and ground legendaries. Just because of the nature of
I think like the only like even remotely close was like Landorus, like back in like Generation 5. I could be wrong. I think
There's
it's
probably
Generation.
Another one.
I think it's
well,
Generation
the
6 actually.
As well.
Yeah, Reggie Rock. Someone actually compiled a list of like what the different types of Reggies would be. One of them was Reggie Sky, which was literally just like one of those like windsock like things. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Form then. Okay.
The last thing that I would want as a Pokemon though is
also,
oh, I already said that.
Yeah, also a Pokemon we could see is Aegislash. And you know that entire line, we could see Shelmet. We could see the return of Shelmet and what's it? Cargablast, I think is the other Pokemon.
Cargablast.
I think we're likely to see them as well. Like they're also a Gen 5 Pokemon that we could see again. So it's and before we forget.
One last thing. Okay, so besides the classic fire, water, and grass gyms, just based off of what you feel of the region, what other like
fairy, steel, ground,
fairy,
rock.
Steel, ground and rock is one. Because they rarely ever remove them.
We're gonna get on a dragon one.
I think the only time that there has been both a rock and a ground gym that were separated is Generation 1, and that's because Giovanni was ground type.
But
it's more he had
That's weird.
I know, but then you realize
that's
that like
weird to think
he had
about
a Persian on his team that like used bite a lot. He had a
Drill Peck is the worst.
Yeah.
I played through Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, and I was always sure I was over leveled, and then I got to Giovanni every time, and I was like spamming like max potions like every time. I'm like, oh, this guy's way harder than I remember him being. But back to Galar. Before, let's see, another type of gym. Flying type. We're gonna see another flying type, I think.
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna see another bug type gym.
Based on
I think
the
it's
region,
gonna be flying instead.
based on the region, there's one near what looks like a school, like in the middle of the ice, that like is probably a nice one.
That's cool.
You have like the big city that's supposed to be London, that we can only find about like 7, so there's got to be a gym somewhere in that city. People think that in the big gated off with like the large like castle looking place
That's
is
probably
going to be
the Elite Four place.
I think that's going to be a dragon type gym. I think that could be really interesting as a
also,
as like,
if they don't give us a corgi Pokemon, I call foul. I want a corgi Pokemon.
no, it's
going to
it's going to be a greyhound.
Because here's the thing, I want all the guys from the
Or, like,
Wind of the
what?
Willows. I want a mouse. I want like a rat one. I want the badger and the frog. I want all 4 of them.
Oh,
And the weird.
the
and
badger
the
is a
weasel to kick
given. You know that they're going to add like a badger and it's going to evolve into an American badger and it looks like that it's an old disgruntled man.
No, it's going to evolve into like an American badger and just look like it's been unkempt for like 4 months. Because have you seen those things?
Yeah, it's going
like
to be a
the English
straight-laced
badger
into...
is all proper and stuff. It's going to be like a slack off and like a vigor.
Yeah, it's going to go
vigor.
vigor off into slack off where I was like, yeah, okay.
Whoa. It's like because the English badger is like it looks all proper, it looks all neat, it looks all cared for, and then you cut to the American one, and
That looks
it's
like he's been on a drug addiction for several years.
It looks like it's dying, or like it's got like horrible fur, and I'm like, it's like the badger and the possum, or the one time where the American version of the animal looks worse than like the Australian or the English version of it, and we're like, what did this area do to this creature?
Okay, so one final thing of like speculation. Do you think that the sword...
I want Nessie.
Okay, do you think that there is a possibility that the sword and shield legendaries, the box legendaries, are going to be connected like in Sun and Moon, where it has one center Pokemon that evolves into that legendary again?
Maybe.
Like,
there's a strong possibility.
There's also a possibility that it's the same Pokemon that gets a split
form.
That it gets a split form depending on which game you have. You know? That could also be
We're gonna
really
need
interesting.
to get you a Switch to trade Pokemon.
Well, there's Cameron's. Yes.
He's got a Switch?
Yeah, CB's getting a Switch, yeah.
Okay, good. So we'll have someone to trade with then.
Yeah,
because
but
I would gladly play your version of it, whichever one.
But
you're
the thing
gonna
is that that the profile on our shared Switch is gonna still be on that one.
Here's the thing: I'll get the opposite version of what he gets. Like, we've never talked about which one we're gonna get because I don't know what Pokemon are
he's
exclusive.
getting Sword, so we would be getting Shield, and then we would be sharing Shield. And then we would be trading back and forth with him.
I forget that we can do that on the Switch now. I'm so unused to that. You don't know why do I keep putting this there? You don't know what live like if you have siblings. Those who are only children don't understand. We would erase each other's version of Pokemon Blue. It's like,
and then she eventually gave up, and I was left alone with my copy of Ruby, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go through the game, and then I got to Groudon, and then I couldn't figure out how to get to the
That's
last
'cause you
gym, which
picked a
was the
grass type, like a
yeah.
chump.
It was like one of the few times in which the water gym was like really far down. I can't remember if it was water or ice actually. It was the last gym, and then I never finished the game because I couldn't get past that.
Yeah, but so now
I
there's
didn't
the
realize
Switch.
you had to dive because you only use it like one other time.
Oh wait. Yeah, but so because here's the thing, I almost always pick the water type starter. Just because I happen to like them more. The only time where that's been different is with Snivy and Fennekin.
Yeah, I'm most likely
picked
gonna do
Snivy.
a playthrough on my channel, um, when it comes out.
I'm fearful of doing a playthrough myself, just because you know how much goes into me playing a mainline Pokemon game. I have spreadsheets where I map out
Honestly,
what Pokemon
like
to
if you
train
were
when
to
and
play
when
the
they
game,
evolve.
like half of the screen would like it would be the gameplay, and then right under it would be your face cam, and then an entire half of the screen is just your spreadsheets.
I wouldn't show my spreadsheet.
No.
That
You would
makes for
have to
dull
show that on the
television.
screen so people can share the experience of keeping a spreadsheet.
No, I would keep a tab of what Pokemon I have. At the time.
Hour-long videos in which you just go
girl
down
makes
one route
spreadsheet.
and half of it's you typing down the spreadsheet. Yeah, that'd be a great
I would
series.
cut around that.
No, honestly, like
I
Flash
would
is
not
helping me.
film my spreadsheet inventory.
Flash is
That's
currently
dull.
helping me put together a playthrough of Breath of the Wild in which in which on the side of the screen right over here there would be like a there would be a like armor counter. It like shows which armor set I had just gotten and like filled out, and he just goes, "Well, I got." By the time that you leave the Shrine of Awakening, I'm at like 18 layers. This is gonna take a while. I'm like, oh no, why have I done this to you? Oh. But
so here's the thing. If you haven't guessed, I'm going to pick Sobble. Obviously.
what would you?
Dude's adorable.
Okay,
You've seen that Newt?
What would you want his
I'm gonna name him
preferred
Swabbo.
secondary type to be? Because that's just a thing now. They get
Poison.
secondary types.
I want poison. I won't get poison though.
People were passing around one in which he looks like a necromancer,
I would go for that.
in which he's a water ghost.
You could convince me of any typing for Sobble, and it would work with the design of the first evolution. If you pitched it the right way, you could pitch me just about
Well, you don't
anything.
want to. Are you sure you want a water rock type?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
To be 4 times 4
Weak to
times weak
grass.
to grass.
We're not going to battle. Because you're going to pick Grookey, right?
Yeah, Grookey, in which and then it becomes like grass steel, so it's 4 times weak to water.
Fire.
Yeah, 4 times weak to fire, and then
Because I'd
what
like
would
to
it be?
see.
It would be like if it is the
And then
water
there's the bunny.
rock type,
Which is
for
gonna
the
get
bunny to
fighting.
like
It's gonna get
actually
fighting. I want it to have steel though. I think steel would make a lot of sense, and it just becomes a coal. It becomes like a dust bun. It becomes like a dust bunny, but with coal instead. Like I think that would fit the region.
someone's probably already made one.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the Fakemon for it, and like they didn't call it a coal rabbit, but it's like that could work.
Yeah.
That could work really well with the typing. It's fire and steel. It gets ×4 to fairy, which will be a gym. So it's like, because I think that all of the starters are going to have a gym that they get like max damage against. Because it's just the lay of the land at this point. Yeah, that's the coldest bunny.
Mm-hmm. I was looking. Okay, so on one of the more credible leaks is grass metal,
Okay.
fire fairy. You know
Okay.
exactly what you wanted. and then it would be water dragon.
For the starters.
Yeah, in which when
Neat.
they get these typings, they then become neutral to each other.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I've heard various things about leaks.
Well, then again, this
I've
leak
been
has a lot of
straying
Chinese
away.
mythology to it. Like, it goes Grookey into Song Wukong,
Oh, that's so cool.
Score Bunny
That's so
into
cool.
the Jade Rabbit,
Oh, that's so cool.
and then Sobble
It becomes a
into...
moon rabbit.
Yeah,
That's
and then-
so cute.
And then Sobble into, I forget what the actual name of the dragon is that's for the winds.
I know what you're talking about.
People
it's-
just refer to it as a Ryuki or something. It's something close to that.
I know what you're talking about. Don't know the name, and even if I did, I wouldn't be able to pronounce it. I also want to see a lot of Irish mythology in this. With just what we've seen, Ireland is vastly misrepresented in this game, which is a shame. If they're going to the trouble of getting both Scotland and England,
And then representing them very well. It's like,
then they
where's
miss-
Ireland? And then you go, they might actually have that as like the post-game
which
content
I
where you
think
go
would be
there.
really cool. You could get some really high-powered
Well, then
Irish
again, you
mythology
gotta
there.
remember, Ireland's not actually part of England as a country. Technically, Scotland is part of the country.
Yeah, but still.
Ireland is its own country.
Yeah, but still, why do two of them and not do Ireland?
It would be like saying,
Culturally.
hey, while we're over in America for Generation 5, if you go further north, you just reach Canada.
Which is true.
No, it's like the top part, like the icy part is just full of Canadians. Like, it would just be like,
Sorry,
wait
eh?
a second. I was like, this isn't America. I think we went a little bit too far over into another country.
And it's like, you're in a new region, mate.
Then again, okay,
No
so,
one in Canada talks
okay,
like that. Why
so
did I do that?
one,
They talk
I
like
keep
you
saying
do.
one final thing, but it's like,
One
but
more thing.
we keep going on to tangents.
This is the
What
tangent
would you
wheel.
want
No one gets off
the-
until we're done.
Okay, so in the trailer, there is a place up in the snow that has a bunch of flags strewn about everywhere.
I think I've seen this.
People were saying that this is because that there are going to be different factions,
I think that would
all
be really cool.
all doing like different things, and each one are going to have a legendary. And this is
it's
coincided with the leak I was just talking about, in which
I've
one of the
seen-
legendaries is the 4 Chinese winds.
Mm-hmm.
And that the idea is that the
Is there-
villainous group isn't actually after Sword and Shield, the legendary Pokemon. Those are going to be things that are dependent upon your character,
Mm-hmm.
but each of the 4 factions are going to be headed by one of the winds.
Here's the thing. That would be cool if they gave us actually some choice in
Yeah.
it. Which I don't know if they're going to do it. If they do give us some choice and our actions have stake and we can actually pick a side, that'd be cool. That'd
Yeah.
be something that separates this game from any other game that has been done in the Pokemon
They
franchise.
wouldn't let you be a bad guy.
They don't have to make the factions bad, though.
I know. That's the funny thing is that like
They
you
don't even have to
instantly
make
think
them
of like
moderately
there
bad.
is
They're all
a
just
there was a
different.
team going around trying to find a legendary, and you
Because we
instantly
could
go,
have
oh, okay,
an
they're the bad
Irish
guys.
team that's... We could have an
Vying
Irish...
for their own independence.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they deserve. But so,
The
Yikes.
Irish Pokemon defense. Like,
where they just
give it some,
set
like...
stuff on fire.
Yeah,
as when the
they're
fire fairy type come
Team
in.
Flare already exists.
I know.
They're good
I know
enough.
they do. No, they're not. They're nowhere near as cool as an Irish Pokemon team could be.
Okay, so that's kind of off topic, but what
Horribly
would you
off topic.
want?
This tangent wheel just keeps spinning.
What would you want the team to be? Honestly, like ignoring the leaks that say
I'd
that there
want
might
it-
be a four factions.
I'd want it... Here's the thing. I like the idea of the 4 factions for the story it could have on... For the impact of the story it could have on the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think... Well, even with 2 factions, like, they don't even have to make them villains.
Man, it's almost like a Generation 3 was a really good game or something.
It almost like it was!
Yeah.
We're not biased or anything, but Not like I love Gen 3, and the only thing wrong with Gen 3 is there wasn't Eevee. You know?
Yeah, you had to go into you had to go into Ruby. Yeah, you had to go into
This was back in the day.
Fire
when we had to
Red,
get
Leaf
cables.
Green. Plug it into the Game Boy Advance slot. Then put
The struggle was real. First world.
No. I was thinking of
everything.
Generation 4, in which you had to put Fire Red and Leaf Green into one slot and then put into the other game on it, because the really old 3DSs had both slots, and so when you put both of them
That
in,
was a thing?
then you got a lot of Fire Red and Leaf Green. You got a lot of Generation 1 Pokemon to go into Generation 4.
Well, that was also the start of wireless trade as well in a mainline Pokemon game. Back during Gen 3,
Yeah.
we're terribly off on the tangent wheel right now. But so, back in Gen 3, for the youngsters who weren't part of the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advanced era of gameplay, trade and battle was done by cable. If you didn't have friends who also had a working Game Boy, you got nothing. Absolutely nothing. We don't know how our dad got his Alakazam.
He took it to work. He took it to work, and one of his co-workers was tech savvy, so they just started trading, and so he just got the full Pokedex. All except for Mew.
Main Pokedex. He
The
just
only
got
one he
Alakazam,
never got was Mew.
which we have Mew now. So
Yeah.
yay for legitimacy. But so back to Galar. Okay, back to Galar. Sabo, Grookey, and CB is gonna get Scorbunny. I desperately hope that this one is not a fire fighting type. Just because it's old hat at this point.
No, it's gonna be water fighting type that makes everyone really confused, because it's the only time that because you gotta remember that it goes you have a lot of fire fighting types, but
I could see
we had
electric.
a grass fighting type with the one from Generation 6.
I want an
Which,
electric.
if you remember, in Generation 6, it was their names were based off of Paladin, Sorcerer, and Thief.
I just realized something.
Yeah.
You don't have to add anything else, but is that Badger Pokemon the electric
No.
type stand-in? It's not. It's ground, probably.
I could look it up
You
really
don't.
fast.
It's like, because we always have to have a mascot surrogate Pokemon. We've always got to have the Pikachu replacement. Every single time. What was Gen 2's Pikachu replacement again? Was it just Pichu?
You said Badger?
Yeah, the Badger one.
It
Or is it going to be
looks
the
on here that it's literally ground.
Oh, just standard ground? That's lame. But so, I mean,
Well, then
it's
again,
cool.
on this as well, there is Stone from Stonehenge that evolves into a Psychic Stone that has like
I can see
runes
that
on
though,
it.
because they did that in Gen 5. It could be like a Galar form.
There's
of
also a metal
Emol-
porcupine.
Emolgim.
A metal porcupine.
I could get behind that.
A
Not literally. but
ground fairy mole.
Nice. That's Mr. Mole from Wind in the Willows. Is there a frog?
No.
In this very possibly fake leak.
But there is a normal
can't
ice
prove.
saber-toothed tiger.
I don't know if I believe that one though.
I was like, that just sounds weird.
Mostly because that's an American thing, isn't it?
No.
Oh, there were saber-toothed tigers in multiple regions.
On this as well is a normal fairy rat.
That's weird. Anyways,
Oh, there was a frog. It is pure fairy.
nice.
There is
Wind in the Willows.
There was
I
a
could-
grass poison
have a lot of
ivy
fairy type
Pokemon that is like
I'm
ruin
gonna front
choked
load
ruins.
I'm gonna front load all my Pokemon with fairy typing in this generation, aren't I?
Steel ice. Like, what the heck is that typing? It's like steel ice alpaca. Like, what the heck is up
That's
with
a
this
weird
list? Yeah.
Yeah, like stuff like that makes me hesitant to believe that half of the stuff in this is
A
fake.
normal type Joey that evolves into a fighting type kangaroo. An ice dragon. which I would really want, please.
That's a bit. Because here's the thing. Because they made Gudra.
Although
but it
my
was
favorite
too
one from this
broken,
entire
so they
list is the steel sheep one, because that actually
I
looks
want a
kind of
steel-
cool.
Yeah, that sheep's gonna be awesome.
A normal
Anyway.
grass hamster. There's a lot of normal types in this, and it's weird.
Yeah, so mostly for Galar, I'd personally like to see them do something other than you can link up with your friends and fight with them. And I'm like, is there anything else for me to do? Something that's actually fun? Because I know that CB finds a lot of fun in the competitive scene.
Well,
but
he's a judge. He's a judge for the video game.
Yeah. I've been told that. I think I forgot.
Oh,
But so...
an electric fighting kangaroo mouse. That actually is kind of interesting.
Because here's the thing. I want something else to do. I want something else that's gonna set this game apart from all the other ones. You know, I don't want it to be like Gen 4. Like, I love Gen 5. And Gen 4 is alright, but I have no emotional ties to Gen 4 because I never played it. Like, and Gen 5 was kind of a little bit dull. And it didn't have an Eevee for me to fawn over.
Ghost poison eye. You know, the ones with the really creepy long finger? Yeah.
E.T.
I'm gonna put this away because
You're going down the
distracting.
rabbit hole at this point. You're going down the score bunny hole.
Yeah. So,
Diving out to the very fire.
honestly,
rabbit.
like, if to get back to my original question, for a team that I would actually kind of like, there's a few things.
Well,
I just want the team to be interesting and compelling, because now you can say that they've had a problem with having a good team, but that's only really like that's only been like generations like 4, a little bit of 5, 6, and then you get to generation 7 where it's just a bunch of losers who are that, and it's like, oh, this is great, and then you see their team leader and he's a bigger loser than they are, and he is actually pretty good because he's like, hey, do you remember my weak little like bug Pokemon? Yeah. Well, now he's this tanky isopod, and now you got to take care of him. I was like, oh no.
That was
his
actually
theme is
really
like
cool.
super distorted because he's like blaring it out of like a subwoofer, and it's like,
like he's got them in his shoes probably, and that's why they're all muffled and weird, is because they're not Healy shoes, they're subwoofer shoes.
Cat's trying to get in.
Because I'm a cannon.
Huh? So one of the but yeah, it's like I just want a team that's compelling. Like parts of Generation 5
team?
had a compelling team.
I'd
Generation 3 had the best team because depending on which game you were playing, you saw different sides of it. And it got to the point where it's like where you were like, okay, are these teams going to clash at some point? And then in Emerald, like they're almost destroying the world because they can't figure out what is more important in life.
She's gonna like keep going until we let her in.
Okay.
Sorry about this, but my cat like will tear up my door if we don't let her in.
But yeah, it's like
yeah.
But like for an enemy team, like they're gonna need a new letter.
There's a lot of fat.
You're gonna need a new letter. How about H? The letter H.
Team.
Yeah.
Get bent.
Yeah.
I just want. They're not gonna do it, but I would just love it for like a fake Rocket team to just shout "Get bent at me." It's like
Kanji Tatsumi will not be the leader of. Kanji Tatsumi will not be the leader of the Pokemon team. Sorry to tell you this.
I want that though. He was my second favorite character in Persona 4. Yeah, so which is why I think that there's a lot of potential with the factions. They don't even have to make them villains, because I think that Pokemon's really missing an opportunity that they haven't capitalized on since the Colosseum games. I'd like to have...
The cat is literally stuck on the cable because it's an idiot. Get out of there.
Pull it up then. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
So I would like to see them kind of capitalize on something like what they did with Pokemon Colosseum.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you play that game, it's one of the best Pokemon games ever. Because you were once a Team Rocket member who was trying to change the error of their ways.
Ugh.
And it's just this wonderful story of, like, redemption and, like, trial and error and love. And it's just like, oh, this is such a good story. They should do something like that again with the factions. Like, not have them be evil and not even have your character having to side with them. But, you know, there's some error of, like, feeling that there's actual choice in this game, even though there's probably not going to be any choice.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting, because if you remember in let's just say Ruby, you're trying to get you're trying to protect Groudon from
because they
Team
kind of
Magma
forced you
because
to
they
side with the opposite team.
Yeah. And to do that, they almost make you kind of side with the enemy team.
His name is Archie. And I remember that because the name of the leader had the same name as the company that used to publish Sonic comics.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I remembered that.
And no one remembers the leader of
Max?
Yeah, like Maxine or something.
Yeah.
He's got glasses that he has his Megastone ingrained into the middle of them. So to activate it, he pushes his glasses up.
That's hilariously lame.
Isn't he great?
It's hilariously awful. I love that.
Meanwhile, Archie has a massive anchor as a neck chain, and the center part is
lame,
his thing.
That's actually lame. I want stuff like that Max had. And it's like, this is hokey. This is like 5 times of hokey.
So,
So I just want some, like for them to do something like that again. Where it's like, really, in games like Ruby and Sapphire, there was no choice. You kind of went with the big bad that was trying to destroy the world more than the other one. But they kind of made you feel like you were a part of something bigger than just you being shoehorned into being the best that ever was, unlike any other 10-year-old that could have achieved this exact same thing as you. So,
yeah,
so I'd like something like that. I'd like an end game that, yes, there's going to be a fighting area. We can clearly see that in the trailer with the map. There's very clearly a battle tree area to it. But I'd like something that's something more than just you can fight with your friends and you can collect the Pokedex.
I fight for my friends.
And that's it. We got nothing else for you, kid. It's like, I'd like something else. Yeah, they don't have to package in a second game with it. But, kind of give you something
You don't want to go back to Kanto for
I don't want to go back.
You don't want to do the
Unova.
gold and silver, in which it's like, hey, you finished the game. Here's an entire post game, which is just go back to a previous area and just do all that again.
I don't want that though.
Although it would be kind of funny.
That'd be fun, but I don't want that.
You finish the game and then you fly over to Alola, and you just do the trials on your own time.
Well, no, if they did that, it would be with the Unova.
Yeah, most likely.
Because that would make sense. You'd board a ship,
but that would mean that they would have to tie
Unova.
In the villains from Black and White, and they're
super lame.
They're kind of lame. They have some problems, and
the
end of the game is just beat up the.
My dad hit me.
My dad hit me when I was little, so beat him up, please. The story.
Yeah, like Unova was fine, but when it came to a more noble
version Kalos was
of
kind of
PETA,
weirder. This 6,000-year-old man just wanted to see his Flabébé one more time.
His Flabébé.
Yeah, so he tried to summon elder gods to to give it to him. And then they had a parade.
And how?
And then they had a parade.
Really lame parade where your friends did nothing to help.
Yeah.
Except
Torino
in the comics. Except in the comics, in which they're all awesome. Because they're spies. And why didn't we get this in the game?
We didn't get into the game because one of them dies because they touch an Aegislash and it kills them.
Why are the mangas so much cooler than the games are?
Because the mangas actually know what they're doing.
And they're written by people who cater to a slightly older age demographic than actual 10-year-olds.
Yeah. So, was there any like final thoughts you wanted to like throw out there?
That's really
besides
my
all the final
thought.
thoughts you just did for the past like 5 minutes.
5? We've been talking about this for 10, man.
One thing I would like to say is I want them to change up the way they do gyms. I liked how they did it in Sun and Moon, where it's like it's not just fight this guy who has some Pokemon. They had that every once in a while, but a lot of the trial battles are literally
with a puzzle to it
like,
as well.
For instance, the Ghost one is literally pull out your camera and take a picture of one Pokemon, fight that one Pokemon, and you're good.
Don't even fight the actual totem Pokemon. It feels like it was supposed to be a Gengar in that gym. No, because here's the thing. Because Acerola, was that her name?
I completely forget.
The really cool chibi ghost girl. I think it's Acerola. Probably completely wrong. But she expressed great shock and terror that there was a different totem Pokemon there than there was supposed to be.
Yeah,
which
because
means
it was
she
following
had a Gengar up her sleeve and it never got used.
Again, you can also go back to these trial leaders and you could face them again. Like for instance, you could face the guy with the Smeargle again.
Yeah.
You could face a lot of them. One of my favorite battles is you do the dragon challenge, and then you go out, and then the fairy type girl is like, hey, here's my stone too. I was like, what?
Thanks for the
well,
stone
wanna,
I need to defeat this.
But I want to have a fight. And it's like, okay.
No, my Primarine is gonna love this stone. As I proceed to just decimate the dragon trial. Absolutely, because I had a Primarina at almost 10 levels above what I was supposed to. I'm like,
okay, so,
I was easy.
I guess we're done.
Staples.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, we're gonna...
I want a Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
On my team.
What we're probably going to try to do is when the game fully comes out, we're going to play it a bit for about a week and then give our impressions afterwards.
Uh-huh.
But that's like not until like November.
Oh yeah, it's probably coming out in
because I think
November,
like only one
December.
game has ever not come out in in November, and I think that was still in like late October, you know?
Yeah. Because even back during Gen 2, we got Pokemon Silver at Christmas. That was our Christmas present.
Yeah.
Because we were kids that didn't know how to ask for Christmas presents.
Yeah, so I guess we're done.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
See you in the next one.